Okay, we'll get started. We'll resume the meeting. It's 11:14 a.m. Next up on the agenda is the community council updates. And I'll go down the line. So Callaway, Apple Lake had to step out, so they'll come back and give us a written one. Iron Range, Monoman. Anybody from here from Monoman to do a community update? Nate Tawash.
Our chairwoman was not able to make it. She's got a little one that was sick, so she had to run them in. Concern with RSV in our community, so it was a priority for her. Plus, Karen Wadena usually hands me the mic anyways, so. Dear Tribal Council, thank you for the opportunity to present at this meeting. In the past few months, NCC has been busy in the village. We attempted a hat and coat drive that didn't go too well. We will continue to work on this. Our sliding hill is complete, but we need additional work and plan to continue to improve this with help of one of the White Earth departments, who we really appreciate. We hosted a Halloween haunted house that went excellent. We would like to thank you for approving the Class 2 funding for youth. It made the difference in our haunted house. In November, we hosted Little Mike and Funny Bone, both at the casino and in the village. This was well attended, and 3 additional area schools booked them as well for their students. Natowash has had a hard summer and fall. We have experienced a lot of loss, and we wanted to do something for the community that was positive and motivational. We do appreciate all the help and assistance from the council, various White Earth departments, and S.J. Hanks from the Waban Community Council, who helped make this a success. But most of all, we need to acknowledge Shannon Burnett Jr., who took the initiative to reach out and make this happen. We are currently working on the White Earth Toys program. We have submitted our list with over 490 children and 168 families with children. We had some families not apply because they are reporting that they are doing well. So we know that we have well over 500 children in our service area. NCC started asking our community members what their children would be interested in, and then shop for each child. This increases the time we spend on the Christmas toy program, but we want to make sure that our children have the best Christmas we can offer. When we started this last year, we noticed that the RBC may want to consider increasing the amount per gift. We don't know the last time the amount was increased, but the cost of toys is going up every year. NCC is submitting 2 requests, one for the Class 2 gaming funding for our youth for our Winter Wonderland and Christmas party, and for the funding from resolution number 001-20-015 for assistance to community councils. We also had questions regarding the offer of $25,000 to each community council. How do we apply for this? Are there any requirements on spending? And will there be any consideration for additional funding for community councils who serve more members or offer more events and programming? NCC is wondering about our previous requests: a new community center, the boxing center, and our fire department. Currently, the old center is not viable for community use. We were planning to use the first round of COVID money to renovate the kitchen. Our center is over 60 years old. When we demoed the kitchen, we found black mold. Now we have a kitchen renovation supplies and a credit at Ojibwe. Our roof is in need of repair. It is starting to buckle, and we need to take out more walls due to the black mold in our center. We hosted the Little Mike and Funny Bone at the complex. We were not able to use the kitchen due to EMP's policy of not allowing use because of COVID. We used the dining room area to feed the people that night. It did not go well, and NCC created a lot of problems for EMP, and we take full responsibility for that. But we need our own space in Nadawash. We are not guaranteed space at the drum hall for all of our events, and the complex is for Boys and Girls Club, EMP, and funerals. We do not want to take away from them. Our members need a space in the village for NCC events, family gatherings, and funerals. We are one of the largest, if not the largest, community on the reservation. We understand that as a people, our overall health is not the best, and investing in a workout health center in Nadawash would benefit the entire community. We could also hold dance classes for our youth and other community events and health challenges in this space if we could get it renovated. We are looking at the boxing club. We would also like an answer for our fire department. They assisted Monoman with the Cenex building fire and were made fully aware of the serious need to update their equipment. The old equipment is putting our volunteers' lives at great risk. With the request, we can trust that our volunteers are safe and show that we value and appreciate their sacrifice to keep our families and communities safe. NCC would really like an answer to our request, which date back to June of this year, and for the boxing center over a year. The Nadawash Community Council has asked our members what they would like to see with a vacancy for our District 2 representative. From those who responded on social media and in-person discussions, the consensus was to fill the position. We understand that today this will be discussed. We appreciate that because for some in District 2, this has great concern for two reasons. First, if it is not filled, this leaves District 2 without any representation. There are many decisions made by the RBC that affects our everyday lives. We have no voice. District 2 needs a voice and a vote at the table. Secondly, if the RBC appoints, there is great concern on who will be selected. This can cause conflict within our district and create an unfair advantage if that person chooses to run. Last night, members of Monoman, Waban, and Nadawash community councils met to discuss this. One option brought up by a Monoman community council member was to appoint Kathy Goodwin's assistant, Deb Keir, to fill out the remainder of her term. This was brought to a few of the Nadawash community council members that night, and they agreed that this may be the best option. The decision is based on the fact that Kathy Goodwin was elected by her district to represent us. Deb Keir has been with her since 2014. She knows how Kathy makes decisions and what her position is on many issues. The decision does not need to be made today, and if this is something the RBC would consider, NCC would ask that we would have time to reach out to our members in our service area to gain feedback on this option. There was also a question that kept coming up. Will the RBC listen to our recommendations? NCC could not answer this. We did remind them that we are elected volunteers to our positions on the community councils. We do what we can to listen and to represent our communities, and we answer to them. NCC has also asked in the past, what is our relationship between the RBCs and the community councils? We have not received an answer to this as of today's date. NCC, Karen Wadena, Joe Bush, Donovan Burnett, Tara Mason, Heidi Goodwin, and Chris Leslie. Miigwech.
Which, Tara, thank you for that report. I know that we were supposed to sit down with you and your community council this week, and I know that we had some funerals, and I know that the council that isn't here today had some medical stuff going on too. So that was one thing why we didn't get back to you and to explain why we couldn't sit down with your community council and go over with some of these requests and that you gave us today. So, but I know that we will talk about Kathy's position a little later here, and I know that we will, of course, always, you know, in my eyes, the people are the ones that always make decisions, you know, and I know that there's 17,000 of us plus, and I know that what we decide today will hopefully be the best for all of us. But we need to come up with a good plan for District 2, because there is a lot of families and a lot of, you know, good people in that district that could utilize and have a voice in that community. So I want to say miigwech, thank you. And for the request for the assistance from the Youth and Elders Fund for the, what was it, your Christmas party? Santa Day.
Yeah, we're planning to have like a little winter wonderland for our youth, and then also the Santa Day. And the application should be in your packet.
Okay, Council, did you get a chance to look at that? Did you want to make any comments or any, you know, and I know that they've requested the back here for Santa Claus, and you know, I guess one other thing I wanted to reach out to District 2 and the community, their community councils. You know, yes, I will miss Kathy greatly when it comes to her departure from our council, and I know she's been, like what a lot of us said, has been a mentor and a teacher, and she's been, of course, my main mentor and teacher for me. Well, I've been on the council for just a few years now, so I want to say miigwech to District 2 and to Kathy, and that hopefully she's watching. And you know, I just, you know, I pray for her all the time. You know, I've always prayed for her, so I want to say miigwech to District 2. Alan, Annie, Ray, you guys have anything to say about the request for the Santa Day?
I'm trying to find it.
Oh, okay.
Annie, you guys are the only, you guys don't have that, Mike's the only one that has the youth and elder application.
Yeah, what they're asking for, guys, I'm sorry, is $1,900 for decorations, $500 for candy bags, and $60 for a Santa suit. Is that what it is, Tara?
Just the beard and the hat. We lost the beard.
So I think almost $2,400 out of the Youth and Elder Fund. So
I'll make a motion.
motion by Annie, second.
Is this for all community councils, Mr. Chair?
Well, I mean, I'm going through the community council list now, and Rice Lake hasn't, I haven't got to that point yet, but this is just in the middle of it with Nadawash first. So I'm not sure if Rice Lake, I don't think I see anything in the packet for them for requesting a Santa Day or whatever. So maybe we need to get something, and maybe if they get something in a timely manner where we can approve it through via
Ratify that.
we could ratify it. So
Rice Lake is here.
oh, Rice Lake is here. Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
For a request, we would be grateful not.
Okay, so but you can get one to us. Get one to us, and then we can.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
The other option could be that the council.
And I know the urban,
Total.
they want to do something with the Christmas stuff too, so I'd be in favor of making that available to all community councils, Mr. Chair.
Hey, council, how about if we do 25 or 2,500 for all the community councils
For Christmas.
for
I'll be in
Christmas?
favor of that.
Yes, I'll make that motion.
Okay, we will retract Annie's
I'll
motion.
second that motion, Chair.
No, we have to retract the first one for NCC, so, okay, we retract Annie's motion, then we'll go for a motion to approve 2,500 for each community council for Christmas, for a Christmas party. Motion by Annie. Annie, you get a motion?
What again, sir? I'm sorry.
Okay, Ray motion, second by,
Sure.
yes.
No, we're good.
What about the elder council, because we're putting on this Christmas party for 400, we estimate 400 elders. We should be included in that too.
Did you hear that, council? The elders would like 2,500 to assist them with their Christmas party. So we have to retract that back now, so.
No, it's fine.
It's fine.
Well, that's come out of that elders fund right at the casino, so that's no problem.
It's all the same
But,
fund, youth and elders.
I motion to whatever Lenny says I'm motioning to provide 2,500 and from the children's or the youth fund out of the casino and from the elders fund for the elders. Is that right, Lenny?
Yes, yep.
Yes. Okay, motion by Annie, second.
Second, Chair.
Second by Raymond, all in favor.
Aye.
Motion carries. Big which. Okay, next up I have.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Nese, Nijinikaza, Nishinabwen, Makwadnan Dundame, Nindogichi Da, Moorhead, Minnesota, Ngumen Day. This Saturday is the new moon. It's the 11th ember of the night sky in our Anishinaabe calendar, where March, the spring equinox, is the beginning of our year. This pivotal point is to have us scrutinize the length of the day and the length of the night, because when it is the shortest day and the longest night of the Northern Hemisphere, it is called the winter solstice. The winter solstice was the date of our ancestry, Anishinaabe people, to celebrate, because it is a pivotal point of the cycle of Aki going around the sun. And it kind of pains my heart as an Anishinaabe when we're talking about raising money to worship Santa Claus, and yet there's nothing that's going to be done on the winter solstice for our people. So are we Anishinaabe or are we elves? Because I think there should be on the winter solstice and on the spring equinoxes. Because I start my fast on the solstice and the equinox, forgive me for my ego or hubris, I fast minimally for 7 days. And I start my fast on the new moon, because according to my calculation, next week, by definition, is the winter solstice, which means the longest night of the year for us Anishinaabe. So please put that in your pipe and smoke it. Kinnikinnick.
Big Rich. Okay, next up is Cass Lake. Yeah, they did, I know they sent a written one. Pine Point here.
Yes, we are.
Mic drop.
Hang on, Chief, you could, Eldon will bring you on mic.
Okay, hear me? Pine Point. I got a text from Swanee on what to bring up and so on and talk about. First of all, our Halloween trick or trunk. First year that we did that out there in the village, and it went pretty good. You know, it was kind of cold, had sun, it snowed on us a little bit out there, but we had one couple donate free bagged candies. You know, I had 150 of them and stuff, and we gave all of them away. So we had that many visitors, and we started a little earlier in the afternoon because a lot of our kids go to town, Park Rapids or Detroit Lakes to go trick or treating and so on too. So it went good. Next thing is Sam did mention that our council bought hams and a pie for every house in the village, 150 of them. So we did help out a little bit with the Thanksgiving dinner and so on too. So one other thing he did mention, or I'd like to just say right now, is thanks to Tara and Nadawash and Delaney. You know, I didn't expect to get any money today, but anything 100 would go a long way. Thanks, guys. And the last thing he did mention was 11 to money. You had a meeting or something, and he'd like some kind of follow-up on that part of it too, I guess, as far as I think, you talked about paying community council members kind of stipend too, so that's it.
Rich, Jake. Next up is Rice Lake.
Yeah. I'm Sheila Thompson from the Rice Lake Community Council. Henry Fox usually comes to the meeting, so I'm new at this. Over the summer, we put in lighting. We had one of our community loops didn't have any security lighting for their road. It was pretty dark. We had them installed. We pay the light bill on that out of our funding, the community council funding for that. We did a battle of the bog. We had our demolition derby this fall. And for Thanksgiving, we did drawings for meal baskets. We get our names off of the EMP list, and then we add people that aren't on there that should be on there. We had a donation. We had enough for 4 baskets, and Henry Fox, he buys boughs. The company that he buys boughs for donated money for 4 more baskets. We had 8 baskets to raffle off. We're planning on doing that for Christmas too. The basket includes a full holiday meal. We're just waiting on the date so we can set a date for our Santa Day. That's about it.
Good, Sheila. Thank you for that report. Waban? Waiters. Yeah.
Anin Iskwashigijik and Dishnikas magazine Dudin. Kawapagadanika and Dunjapan. Hello everyone, I'm Brandon Kier, BAM, everyone knows me as. I'm the vice chair of the White Earth Community Council. In October, we did a little trunk or treat. We did have a good success. The White Earth Police Department helped pass out candy. November, There was a little confusion on the Thanksgiving stuff. Butterworth Community Council did donate, what was it, 1,200? So that's how we did feast everyone, so hands to them. And then Marlene, my auntie Marlene, I am her nephew. So we did go door to door. Mia Bevins over there, she helped. And Tito, she come to our meeting, the last meeting, and helped out a lot too with the knowledge of her elderness. I'm sorry, I still hasn't conquered this down. I'm speaking yet, but bear with me. We are looking forward to a Christmas party. I am going to dress up as Santa, so I thank you for the money so I can look for Santa suit for my size. We are gonna, what else? I'm doing this on my own, as teaching the kids the songs and the stories of the songs and the appropriate songs, what to sing. That is a lot too for the kids. Really process went on 4 weeks, and they already know a woman's song before a straight song, so that's a plus. But I do ask if at least one of the community council or tribal council attended meetings. It's just to have more. Be good to have more leadership, even if it's a chairman, District 1, and anyone, vice chair. Again, I am the only one here. We did add a new secretary. Our old one resigned, and we added Shannon Heisler. She's wonderful. She puts her time in with us. Really looking forward to our future work in the council. Other than that, we just plan on to keep doing more dinners and more while it gets cold. English.
Thank you, Ben Miigwich, for that report. White Earth Urban, I know they sent the email with their report, and if somebody wants a copy of that, we could probably get you a copy from admin girls can get you a copy of it. So, but next up is old business, which is nothing on there, but we got some new business.
No, I'd like to talk something about old business, if
Yes.
it's possible. I've been talking about this for a while. It seems like nobody really is concerned. When this casino was built, we were paying $1 million a year in taxes. For 10 years, we paid that. $10 million we paid this county. $10 million we paid this county. Only to find out from Mr. Buzz Howard that when you use Wilson money, you don't pay taxes. So my question is, where's this $10 million that Monoman County got from us? Was this returned? Was it asked to be returned? So, if this money has not been returned, there's plenty of county land that's available here in return. Nobody knows what happened to this $10 million if it was returned. So, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Secretary, I want to go on record in requesting that you have Mr. Lenny Fine do investigation on this $10 million, where it went. That's a lot of money. And nobody in this room, if somebody in this room knows where this $10 million went, I appreciate somebody speaking up. Does anybody know where this $10 million went? Was it returned? This is very important. We got to stand our ground. Believe me, Monoman County had a beef with our tribal land. They wouldn't have no problem going forward. So I'm asking Mr. Secretary, how do you feel about this? I'm asking the District 1 and District 3 to go forward on this. And Mr. Chairman, my request to have this on record. And I also want to have this put on our next agenda where this is coming to, how far we're getting to this $10 million. It's very important, because if that money hasn't been returned, go for the county land to get it back. Nobody, see what I mean? Nobody knows where this $10 million is. It was returned. Was it returned and went to Bugger MacArthur and Bernard's Irma Visner's pocket? Something happened to that $10 million. We have that right to find out where that money went. McWitch. Again, on record, and for the next meeting, Mr. Friday, if they give you the go-ahead to investigate this, I'd like to see it on our next agenda.
Thank you. Okay, next up, a new business ICW monetary donation. Yeah, all I have is just a letter, and it doesn't really describe what the process for the budget or what they're in need of. Loretta, do you know anything about this? Yes.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
So typically each year, for a number of years, Indian Child Welfare would present a donation request in the amount of $5,000 to help towards Christmas gifts for the children and families. Which?
With, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I have a question with their budget that isn't budgeted in somewhere.
So, Mr. Chair, typically the agency would do a number of fundraising events, bake sales throughout the year, to try to earn the funding, and this would just be something that would offset the cost of a donation amount. It is not something that's typically budgeted for within any of the grants or funding that the agency receives. Which?
There's just a couple things I'd like to mention about funerals. We just put a family member in the ground here a few days back. Pain in the ass all the time to have to deal with funerals. You know, calling our district reps, trying to get rooms, trying to find supplies, a place to have the funeral. I think that every member should have something, the same thing for every member. They shouldn't have to go through. A lot of these people don't even know who to call, you know, who to contact. And it's a very, very, very stressful thing for everybody. Even a person such as myself that knows all of these things, for the people that don't, it's incredibly stressful. I think somewhere, they should have something implemented to where the same is across the line for every member. So once a family member passes, they can just make a phone call, and all of these things are already in place.
Like a standards or guidelines.
You know, maybe 4 rooms for each family member or whatever. And if they need to request more, then maybe make another contact to somebody. But this really ought to change. It really should change. You know, it's a very tough thing to deal with. I've dealt with this many, many times. I'm sure everybody else has. That really should be changed.
A roundhouse in every village for funerals.
So I'm asking RBC if there's something that you can do possibly for the next meeting or maybe right now, or create something up to where every member has something straight across the board, contacts who to contact, or have supplies there, like we have to contact Henry Fox to get like plates and utensils and stuff like that. I mean, I just recently learned that I had to contact Henry Fox to get the napkins and stuff like that. There should be something more easily available for people at a time like this when this happens.
Like a funeral arrangement page on the website.
I think that's probably a good idea, Kevin, what you said there. I think right now, how it's handled is through Warriors Constituent Services out of Natowash. I know you contact Tony Weaver or any of the other Constituent Services employees. And I know there's a process to start that chain. I know there's a death certificate. I know they have to like follow a path. But I know the path kind of gets weedy after where, like you just talked about, is all the other things, is the plates, the rooms, and the thing when people ask me for rooms, like, of course, I have reached out to Maria Bevins to set up the room block because each family gets 4 rooms. And I know there's confusion out there, and I think maybe there is some type of thing that we can look at as administration here to set up something on the website, maybe to help guide our people to get these items and these services so they can help their families in this time, because I know it's stressful as heck. Yeah.
Well, I mean, even then, I mean, there's been a lot of times where people, even myself, has made phone calls to contact our reps and stuff, and you're not able to get things done in a timely manner when you only got so much time, especially a traditional funeral where and you can't get people. You can't get people on the phone. You're waiting, and you just don't know.
Mr. Chair, if I may?
Yes, right.
What we can do is develop a funeral assistance fact sheet and process along with all of the identified resources to bring forward for consideration to our leadership, and then we could propose and identify a point of contact, one point of contact to be able to set this up while we develop a possible program that is specific to the funeral needs. And this is something that would also align with response to the pandemic and ARPA and that type of thing. So we could prepare something internally and bring it forward for consideration.
That would be, man, that'd be nice.
I got one comment on that, for a positive note. What we should have is, we should be building our own caskets instead of paying the county $4,000 for a cardboard casket. I know the last 2 funerals I went to, you couldn't close the lid because the cardboard latch broke. $4,000 for cardboard? Come on. We can build 5 coffins for that type of money. That's what we need. We got to look forward to doing things ourselves.
Let's do it.
That would help some of our people out so greatly in a serious time. Let's look out for our people. Let's do what we can to help our own people on this matter. We got some fine young men, women that can volunteer or a little stipend for their gas or something to come help and build these coffins so we have enough coffins, everything from a newborn to the elders. That's what we need. We got to get together and start building our own future instead of depending on government cardboard caskets. That's what we need. We should try to work something like that to build our own caskets, because I know 2 people that build caskets and they do such a beautiful job. And one of the persons that built my brother's casket was Weaver, just north of Pinehurst there a little bit. He does a beautiful job. You get that man to teach some of our young men how to build caskets, that's one less problem we all face. McWidge, that's my deal.
I just got one more thing.
Thank you, Leonard.
Just listening to everything, how much money that was being passed around for these Christmas parties. why not start a training program for our people to be trained in plumbing, electrical? Like they used to have training programs for solar. They used to have carpentry classes. They used to do these things. This is way before any of this COVID money started being passed around.
Teach our kids trade.
So why not start these training programs for our people to be trained in, so we don't have a bunch of wasted money for these people that are going out and doing half-ass jobs on these houses, and you know, so our people get good quality work. I mean, it was there. It was there before. Why not bring it back? Could I make a motion on that? Have you guys make a motion to pass?
But those are really good points that you brought up. You know, I was up in Red Lake Nation here probably a little over a month ago, and I went up to their workforce, the New Beginnings Center, and you know, I was impressed what they're doing with their programming. I know they had a welding program, and then they had a CNA program for nurses. They actually had a lab built right into their program up there, and I was really impressed with those. So I know those are some things that we're going to have to look at doing is with our workforce centers to maybe provide more training and an opportunity for our band members, or also work collaboratively with our tribal college. You know, our tribal college should be offering these programs too. So I know that there's two areas that we could look at maybe, you know, benefiting from this and getting our head counts up and numbers up, so we can get our kids back into these programs, so we can have a skilled workforce. So I know that's what we've been talking a lot about today. So I say big wish for those comments, and those are really good comments. And I know Leonard talked about the coffins and the, you know, and that's something that he can probably meet up with Eugene sometime in the near future and maybe put out something on RFPs or something where we can come up and build these coffins. Because I know for a fact that, you know, when I was working over in Leech Lake, that I know we had one of my coworkers bought coffin kits from Denver, which are all red cedar, and he bought them at a price, and then he assembled them, and then he sold them. You know, he didn't make a ton of money off them, but they were very beautiful red cedar coffins. And I think those are ideas like we talked about earlier with all these LICs out there is, you know, we got to start utilizing our own business chambers around us to start benefiting from some of these programs too. So, big wish.
Can I just make a comment?
Yes, Tito.
I agree with all that, you know, that we should be building our own. But I disagree when you said that our Christmas party was not important. It is very important because the whole reservation gets together. And it's not, you know, just to sit there and eat a dinner and have a little party. It's the socialization aspect of it. And, you know, our people have been isolated so long with this pandemic business. You know, this is very important to them. And I just want to say that I agree as far as we need to build our own coffins, because I know those old shoddy coffins that most of our people have to utilize, and they're charged ridiculous prices for it. You have all these LLCs, get them, you know, get them busy.
Yep, big wish.
Thank you.
You know, that's one thing I was talking to a good friend of mine at last week's powwow at Leech Lake, and he comes from down in Mishawaka Nation in Iowa. And they have, you know, and this is kind of more of a spiritual, you know, thing. Is like one thing he told me is like they don't have, because we talked about, you know, our regalia, we talked about everything that we do, and he made a good point that, you know, that their tribe doesn't do nothing for the burial fund. You know, they do it all traditional, which is no coffin. They're put in their spiritual attire, and then so it was kind of how different nations are just taking in all this information. It's just different across the country, and how other tribes and other nations how they handle these. Because remember, some of those laws don't pertain to us. And when like what we do with some of our traditional way of burials is something that's really unique too. You know, I know in our past that we used to wrap them in birch bark and put them in the ground without the coffins, and we didn't do the embalming. So I know that there's a lot of different things, and that's something that Leonard brought up a good point about that. And I really respect that, Miigwech. And, you know, Leonard, you could probably reach out to Eugene over here, and Eugene can probably, you know, economic development and look at maybe finding some contractors or handymen that are good with wood and could maybe learn some of that. We could probably have work with the funeral homes that work with our program. We provide the coffins for all of our band members, so that's something that's a good point. Now, I'd really like you to sit down with Eugene and talk about that.
Mr. Chair, do you have a question or comment over here?
Yeah. Mr. Chair, I mean.
Yes. Or.
You know, we, at every meeting, we have all these great ideas from members, and then, you know, if I send emails to follow up to try to get something going, that's where it ends. I never get no follow-up. I never get, nothing. I don't even know if they reach out to these members. So, you know, maybe we have to, I think that us tribal council should sit in on the next directors meeting and figure this out, because, you know, we do have a lot of talented people out there. And, you know, if we're not reaching out to them, who is? It's like, what's going on here? You know, and that goes back to accountability and communication. We don't have that. And I've been telling the council that we haven't had that for years. And that's something that we need so we can all work together for our members, because that's who we're here for. Miigwech.
I don't think I need a mic for this one, but so this is a conversation NCC has, because we talk a lot. But me and Karen were really looking at making our own coffins, and we found some really awesome blueprints to make shelves. And so they're a shelf in your house, and then when you need them, you just reassemble them. But we figured with our family members are kind of dingy that we'd have to like tape the instructions underneath the shelves so they know how to assemble them. But they look really nice, you know? And so that was one thing that we were talking at, like with NCC, is that maybe in the summertime we would try to put these together. And then what happened is the price of lumber went through the roof. And so we couldn't afford, we didn't have any extra funding to actually even attempt it. But those are things that we've been talking about at the community council level as well, is, you know, how could we do this for our community members, that it's something that you would have in your house. Like, it would be useful until it was time, you know, for us to travel on. So
coffee table.
Yes.
But look at, we have a member here. Her son can make a casket. But you know what, if we ever implicate a project where we get our members to make caskets for us, you know, will they remember her son who's able to do that? Mm-hmm. You know, if he already has the experience, why didn't he get that business grant? He could teach people to make those caskets. I read, and I thought the same thing, build my own. The funeral home here in town, they won't do your services unless you buy a casket from them.
Well, when you're talking about this also, don't forget burns, because a lot of people are getting cremated. Whatever, you know, you could, if you're gonna build something, don't forget, those money.
Mr. Chair, if I may, Tara has asked what the community council relationship with the RBC is. I would also like that to be put out there, because I'm not sure. You know, so can Lenny or somebody write that up and get it out to all the community councils and us, so we know our relationship? You know, how are we supposed to work with them? How, you know, what is our role in their community councils? Do we just only give them money, or what is, you know? Because I think that's very important so that they know too what our responsibilities are. Miigwech.
If I may. Okay. But Mayor, well, I think as the tribal community council for on that is just my opinion. Is we as community council we do the footwork for you guys, and when I did say Fairbanks did tell me a while back when we first ran that we are the future chairman or the future tribalmen, so we still do the Robert's Rule of Law what you guys are doing right now. So all I ask is just help. I know you guys are busy. Everyone's human. Remember that everyone's human, and we only could do so much through our day. And we have a monthly meeting every month, and I don't look at you guys to ask for money. I ask to look for you guys to see the better for our future, for our kids. 20 years from now, you know what? I'm gonna get back to the blood quantum a little bit. I'm sorry to get off track, but look at that. What about our kids in 20 years from now? Look at that. Are they still gonna be enrolled? Are their kids gonna be enrolled? But you guys, the tribalmen, you guys are really important to us. Just know that, as Miigwech.
Thank you, Bam. Miigwech.
Mr. Chairman, I'll be happy.
And Mr. Chairman, back to the ICW request.
Yes, I was just going to say, yeah.
Is there a budget on that, or is it just something we give every year without a budget, or do we know do we spend it all on toys? I do believe a $3,000 donation was given from our donation committee. So was there more out there that was donated? And, can we get a budget on that? Miigwech.
Thank you, Annie. I know this is the first time that they're asking us for money, I think, this year.
A lot of kids,
So there's roughly around 149 children that we were going to buy for. So the limit would be $25 for children 11 and under, and then 12 and over would get $50 gift cards from Walmart. So I know that's not going to cover everything, but so that's like right around $7,500 altogether. But with a $3,000 donation that we got already, and we were. I mean, there's no budget though. There was just an amount that we'd asked for.
Did you hear that, Annie?
Yes, I did. I have no problem with donating to children. So yeah, I will make a motion for that. But like I said, maybe we should have a budget in the future just so we can look at it.
Yes, Miigwech, thank you, and that's a good idea. I think maybe next year's budget round, you could probably look at adding some of that into your. So. All right, motion by Annie to approve the ICW monetary donation for $5,000. Motion by Annie.
Second, Chair.
Second by Raymond. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carried. Thank you, Miigwech. All right, next up is the White Earth Fire Department request, and they're asking for assistance for FY 2022 fire protection funding in the amount of $25,800 for operating expenses. I think they come in every year around that same. Yearly they come in with this, so.
Okay, can we do data wash at the same time then for 25,000? Can we just do 25,000 to both White Earth and Data Wash fire departments?
I think we did that. Yeah, we did that last.
We have their outstanding other requests that we still never addressed that I think we should be getting that addressed for. I think they're asking for ARPA money out of that. So I think we should go ahead and approve 25,000 for both today, and then look at their other requests on next meeting if we can possibly.
Okay. Okay, so it's 25,831, so we should just round it up to 26,000? Is that, Len, or should we just keep it in for both of them?
You can do 25,831 for both of them.
We can do 25,831 for both. Motion on that.
Motion.
Motion by Alan.
Second.
Second by Andy. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Miigwech. Next up is the sobriety power request. Did council get a chance to look at the, I think it's the Dennis Hisgun request. I think Heidi Goodwin had a budget in there of $34,000. Hang on here. Of $36,300 for the New Year's.
Does the casino have funds for that one too, or did they not have funds for that one?
Yeah, so we'll have to check on that. Kurt, do you know anything about it? But I mean, we can approve it, and then if the casino pays for it, then we won't have to pay nothing. I think the casino pay for it, so.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve that.
Okay, motion by Annie, second.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, I kind of blanked out on that meter. What was that for again?
It was for the Dennis Hisgun New Year's Eve powwow at Nadawash. It was for the amount of, $36,000. Annie motioned.
Yeah, and I'll second, Chair.
Second by Raymond, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you. And then the next one is the vice chairman appointment. And when Kathy stepped down here, that we're looking to. Len, do you think we should?
Probably it should be after you accept.
Probably after, we should do this after we accept Kathy's, and I think that's next year, so. We'll push that after this next item. So the next item is Kathy Goodwin's resignation.
We just need a motion to accept the resignation.
Okay, a motion, we need a motion, Lenny said, to accept her resignation. Hang on.
Any terms with that?
Huh?
Any terms with that?
What do you mean?
Like severance?
No, the motion now would just be to accept the resignation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So motion to just to accept her resignation.
Move.
Moved by, was that you, Alan?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Alan, second.
I will second, Mr. Chairman.
Second by Annie, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, aye.
Okay, motion carries. Miigwech. All right, next up is the appoint or the vice chair appointment. Any recommendations?
So move for Raymond Hoganash for vice chairman.
Nomination by Ellen to nominate Raymond.
As long as it's not me, I will second that.
Second by Annie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Raymond's our vice chair. Okay, next up is the Total Spectrum Monthly Report. Total Spectrum here.
If we could maybe move on to the next item on the agenda, our attorney's coming down right now. For total.
Yeah, okay.
All right, next up is the Cannabis Key proposal.
Mr. Chair, this has been tabled several times and I'm ready to move on it. I have talked with the chief of police, I've talked with Lenny, and I have no problem with it. Miigwech.
Let's go.
Proclamation.
Is this the, Kevin, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
Turn this on. Sure. Go ahead.
I got a big mouth.
I got it right here.
Start singing.
Check, mic, 1, 2. Bujuanin, Nese, Nijinikaz, Anishinaabe, Kevin Richard Shores, Nijinikaz, Shaganashi Moog, Makwanin Dunde, Minawad, Nindo Gitchida, Aki Minawa, Gawa Babigani Kog, and Dun Juba, Minawa, Moorhead, Minnesota, Nungun, Inde, Chimigwich, Gitchimanadu, Gani Kana, Ape Gish, Minobimada Ziwe Wian. Hello and hi. Thank you, Miigwech, for allowing me to speak today. I am speaking on behalf of Cannabis Aki, a group of entities that has been recognized by the Tribal Council, I believe now for 2 years, to be part of the cannabis cultivation on the reservation. Me and Todd are here today, Todd Thompson. We are two of the last remaining holding on by our fingertips of this group and trying to utilize it for the betterment of our people on the reservation to cultivate cannabis for the positivity of our people. And if I can indulge you all that Todd is going to read this legalization proclamation that we've been pushing now for the last 4 months.
White Earth Nation Cannabis Legalization Proclamation. We are the Anishinaabe, proclaim in our inalienable inherent rights of existence afforded to us by Gitchimani that by this day forth, we the Anishinaabe do proclaim the cultivation of individuals. Cannabis is deemed legal and agree that in its simplicity shall grow minimally 13 cannabis plants for the Bimada Ziwin. We, the Anishinaabe of Aki, the White Earth Reservation, proclaim that it is well within our rights to utilize the entirety of the cannabis plant for its full potential. First and foremost, these rights are to be upheld by the revised Constitution and bylaws of the Chippewa Tribe of Minnesota. We the Anishinaabe can legally personally grow, cultivate cannabis inside and outside of where we domiciled reside within the territories, boundaries of all lands of Aki bestowed to us by Gitchimani. The cannabis plant has over 100,000 potential byproducts that through its cultivation can and will have an auspicious impact on the future of Aki, the reservations and the people. Since the dawn of civilization, cannabis has been utilized for a multitude of functions, fulfilling the basic needs of survival, food, clothing, and shelter to optimal health maintenance, pain management, the future and current disease intervention. Most importantly, cannabis is a sustainable crop, which means that it can be cultivated with little or to no impact on Aki. As we, the Anishinaabe, traditional ideologies of harvesting what is needed for the Bimada Ziwin, we desire to maintain the respectful ways of cultivating cannabis with integrity and simplicity and maintenance organic heirloom cannabis, by not allowing the plant to be tainted by genetic modification and the utilization and detrimental pesticides and herbicides, which will ensure a positive source of cannabis to be first and foremost distributed to entities of the White Earth and other reservations of the Anishinaabe. Because of the positive outcome that cannabis has, it's important, or that it is important that its cultivation further the momentum towards a sustainable and prosperous future. Miigwech.
All right, Council. I mean, this is, I can't vote on this one, so. I know Annie has talked to Mike LaRock and Lenny and discussion council, Alan, Ray.
I do have another clarification. I wanted to see if Cannabis Key would be willing to assist with Wabigwan Mashkiki here at White Earth Nation, provide technical advice and assistance, and to also come forward with recommendations as to how we can move forward. I know there's been some movement around the cannabis here on the reservation, and I think that the Cannabis Key in their organization is equipped to help our nation move forward on this. And I do support the proclamation just as Annie does. And I just would like to hear more from Kevin here. Thank you.
So what Cannabis Key is attempting to do is we're trying to create ourselves as a nonprofit organization to where basically anybody on the reservation would want assistance in getting financial gain. They could come to Cannabis Key and help the further momentum of a sustainable business, kind of like a co-op. We call it a cooperation. Okay. And so we're trying to figure out how that an entity that's part of Cannabis Key can be financially rewarded. We know that with our board creation that there'll be a potential for a couple part to full-time jobs where people are minimally getting paid $14 an hour for helping Cannabis Key move forward. Also, it would be set up to where there are elders in the community that if they want to grow cannabis and have or need assistance, that they can contact Cannabis Key, and we can provide individuals coming into their home and helping them learn how to grow their own cannabis, because it is well within our inalienable rights to grow cannabis. This is why we're pushing this proclamation, because people talk about decriminalization. When you decriminalize something, you're still saying it's a criminal offense. You're just not going to get in trouble for it. And we think this is an absolute disrespect to our way of living as Anishinaabe people by telling us that we can't grow a plant that has so many potentials to the betterment of our full facet of existence, mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. It has been proven time and time again that cannabis can help. Also, Cannabis Key would then therefore start looking at the feasibility of assisting businesses that want to start growing their own cannabis, because the market will dictate whether or not you are a good cannabis grower. If your cannabis isn't any good, people aren't going to buy it from you. And so we want to help set that up to where you as an individual want to grow cannabis, we can point you in the right direction for lighting fixtures, for potting soil, and to do it in a respectful way, utilizing heirloom seeds, and also being part of the distribution of cannabis on the reservation. Because there's a challenge with hemp, what they're calling hemp, and there's a challenge with what they're calling marijuana. It's cannabis, and you cannot stop cross-pollination. And so if we stuck specifically to cannabis, whether or not it has THC levels would depend on what we're growing specifically and where, then we just utilize the in-house economy of other reservations. And that if we want to grow cannabis outside the reservation, then we purchase land outside the reservation and we grow the hemp that is following the federal government and the state government's rules and regulations, because that's what pertains to them. Minimally on our reservation, we have sovereign entity inalienable rights of existence, and planting a seed, as this entire council has been part of. Each one of these council members, except Chairman Fairbanks, if you remember, a year and a half ago, planted a seed. And I apologize that those seeds did not take. But I can't confirm or deny I have more seeds to be planted. So, Miigwech and Cannabis IQ is looking forward. We have a contract.
Thank you, Kevin Miigwech. So council, do you guys want to approve the Cannabis Key proclamation?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask Cannabis IQ to come forward with a technical advisement proposal, and that so the council can take a look at that proposal by the 14th here. I think that's our next scheduled meeting. So when Kevin says that, you know, they want to be able to help build this economy and prepare for it, and, you know, there's a lot of moving parts part of this. What I'm asking Cannabis IQ is to come forward with a proposal, work with the legal department and have it presented to us by the 14th here this month. Kevin, do you think you could get that in front of us?
Actually, we have one. We have one written up already. I wanted to talk to Leonard today about it, because the challenge that we're having right now is how do we cannot in good conscience do something like Tall Bear or other entities where you come in and say, I want $171,000. When the average salary on the reservation is less than $12,000 a year, how can anybody ask for these exorbitant amount of money when we're supposed to raise everybody up and not just individuals? And that's why Cannabis IQ wants to be more of a nonprofit, to where you're getting rewarded because you are part of the creation. So you have a little bit more value to being part of it. But yeah, we'll submit that to you guys at the end of the meeting. I'll get a hold of the rest of the group and ask if they're okay, but I'll get that to Leonard.
And you guys have attached a potential budget with that as well?
A loose one.
Okay, I just work with the staff. My request is to work with the staff to come up with that, a potential budget for us to look at too, so.
Yes.
Lenny or Mr. Fairbanks, or Mr. Chairman, my question is now, if we want them to work with the growth that we're doing, should we have the enterprise board available to listen to or being on that meeting or whatever? Because from my understanding, they're the board and we weren't going to interfere with that. So is that something we need to invite them to?
Yeah, thanks, Annie. This is Lenny. When I get the documentation from Cannabis Key, I'll share that right away with Enterprise, and I'll talk with Enterprise and Cannabis Key, and we'll get something to council together, all of us.
So beyond the scope of Cannabis Key, can a motion be passed for this proclamation so our people can start putting seeds in the ground now? Jaga, please.
Council?
I will make that motion to pass this proclamation, Mr. Chair.
Motion by Annie, second by Alan. All in favor to approve the Cannabis Key proclamation? Thank you. Motion passed. All right, next up is total spectrum.
I'm sorry, Mike, may I add one last thing? I'm sorry, this is on a different aspect of Cannabis Key. I applied because according to the hemp plan and the cannabis code, there has to be a cannabis commissioner. And I have applied by the pushing and endorsement of the council for this position. And I continue to ask HR what's going on with it. I keep asking the tribal council what's going on with it. HR says the council has to direct that position, and the councils are telling me that HR has to fill that position. And as far as I know, I'm the only one that applied for this cannabis commissioner position.
There's more.
Mr. Chair, if I may. Okay, Miigwech Kevin. So you're correct. We had, HR had submitted all of the applications over to Business Enterprise. Business Enterprise conflicted out, rerouted it back to HR, and we will be interviewing all of the applicants in 2 weeks, tentatively 2 weeks. So we'll be reaching out to individuals at this time. We've had a number of applications come forward.
Miigwech.
Yeah, well, this is Secretary Roy. I'd like to see some sort of reconciliation on this because technically a lot of this program is out of compliance with us not having those commissioners in place. And my request to the RBC at this point, Mr. Chair, is that, this thing get resolved no later than the 14th of December or at that meeting that's to be scheduled here. And as far as I got some comments I want to make as well. Number one, I feel that Mr. Kevin Shores has been discriminated against in this process. And I don't think it's right that, I had to bring him an application to an RBC meeting. He should be provided reasonable accommodations just as everyone else that requests it or needs it. And for him to come to the meeting and request that sort of help tells me that there's been a failure in our systems. And once again, Mr. Kevin Shores, I apologize. I apologize to you for the way you've been treated. And so my request, Mr. Chair, is that staff bring these applications for the RBC to take a look at and potentially approve on the 14th of December. Miigwech.
I think the process should be slowed down because when we rush things, it's not always well thought out. So I think this is something that needs to be time needs to be taken.
Ma'am, since 2004, I've been pushing the cultivation of cannabis. So I beg to differ. I've spent many hours in the cultivation of cannabis.
But you're talking about putting seeds in the ground now, it's winter.
I can't put feet to the ground, I'm in a chair. But I'd love to have a moment of your time to share your concerns about cannabis cultivation. And I've asked you this many times in the past.
You asked me one time.
Okay.
But I do agree with Alan that we should have this completed by the 14th, just because it's been on the table for how long, and we're trying to get our growing going here. So, it has to be done. I mean, if the applications are sitting there, why have they sat there this long? Did it just close or something, or have they been sitting there for months? I don't know, because we never get updates. But let's get them applications moving, get your interviews done, and let's move forward, because our medical marijuana is also hanging in the balance waiting for this. Which
But not only that, but I do want to say, as far as the timing goes on this, that the tribe, we had a referendum on cannabis, on medical marijuana, and this has been well thought out and deliberated. It's been discussed for years. And it just so happens now that we've got some very talented band members that are stepping up and stepping forward that want to take care of the people. And I, for one, stand with these band members that want to help our people. So I do want to say miigwech to Cannabis Aki. Miigwech.
I'd like to ask a question. Hey. I know what he's talking about. I've been to a lot of the meetings regarding medical marijuana for a reservation. I'm going to be one of the patients. I refuse to take man-made pills left and right to deal with my mental health. I don't want cancer. I don't want my liver shot. I want to live to be old. I'm already getting that. What do I got to do to get on this commission board?
Your name, you're welcome. Anybody is welcome to be part of Cannabis Aki. Anyone.
All right.
Hi, guys.
No, let's get the ball rolling.
All right, we're gonna move forward here. Total spectrum's next.
I'll write it down.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I'll give it to Todd, okay? Sounds good.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bouger Segoli, Mr. Chairman, members of the White Earth Reservation Business Committee. My name is Leslie Wheelock. I'm a member of the Oneida Nation of Wisconsin, and I'm one of the lawyers working on the Total Spectrum tribal team with our White Earth virtual partners. Our monthly report through Secretary Treasurer, I'm going to deliver the monthly report, and then I understand there are some questions, and we'll go through the questions then. Through Secretary Treasurer Roy's bold vision for the benefit and future of the White Earth people, renewable energy was brought forward to be explored and examined. Secretary Roy knew that his vision required business relationships and collaboration with others outside the White Earth Nation. Through his networking, Secretary Roy identified Total Spectrum as a potential partner that could bring third-party integrity to a very quick process that is designed to find, consider, and recommend renewable energy projects that would benefit the White Earth tribe. White Earth and Total Spectrum signed a contract on September 24th, 2021, authorizing Total Spectrum to assemble and guide a team of White Earth businesses, enrolled members, and experts in the fields of renewable energy, finance, law, and business development, management, and marketing to explore and identify potential renewable energy opportunities available for White Earth. The contract was for Total Spectrum to identify and evaluate the renewable energy business and community opportunities available to the White Earth tribe and to its people. The first deliverable was a midterm report, approximately 45 days after beginning work under the contract. The midterm report was complete and delivered on November 17th to White Earth leadership. At this time, the White Earth contract with Total Spectrum is in full force and effect, and Total Spectrum has satisfied all of its current obligations. White Earth's contract with Total Spectrum identifies 5 phases and covers the first 3 without need for an amendment. The contract did not include the effort needed to select a location, design, build, and deliver an operating energy generating facility between September 24th and December 31st of this year. But energy development and related projects are still in the future for White Earth. As of today, we've identified between 7 and 10 viable projects, both on and off the reservation, including a microgrid and potential for micro facilities for Shooting Star Casino. Secretary Roy is to be applauded for pursuing a vision that would bring financial stability, opportunities, and lifestyles to the White Earth Nation. Total Spectrum is committed to completing its work to find, analyze, and propose such opportunities to the RBC and to the tribe for consideration. We are working together to ensure the presentation of viable opportunities to create at least one win for the White Earth Nation and hopefully more. We support the White Earth Reservation Business Committee and, importantly, Secretary Roy, who, together with other tribal leadership, still see renewable energy generation as a viable and profitable business opportunity for the White Earth Nation and an aid and benefit to the White Earth people who needed energy to heat and power their homes, schools, hospitals, and businesses. Total Spectrum envisions that its continuing efforts with White Earth leadership on renewable energy generating facilities will bring desperately needed renewable energy to White Earth and the city of Newnorman. The White Earth Community Engagement Team, also known as the WE Green Team, that was established as part of the Total Spectrum team's effort is in operation and continuing to share the news of the Total Spectrum progress in bringing renewable energy first to the White Earth Nation. White Earth can then work with the other Minnesota Chippewa tribes to develop renewable energy on tribal lands in northern Minnesota. Total Spectrum will consider any additional renewable energy projects that White Earth desires. However, material changes to the current contract will need to be considered as additional scopes of work or contract modifications that will require negotiation and terms agreeable to White Earth and to Total Spectrum. Total Spectrum stands ready to discuss how best to move forward, to evaluate proposals and move forward on Secretary Ray's bold vision to empower the next 7 generations. Within the scope of our, that's my report, summed up. Within the scope of our midterm
report, Total Spectrum had one recommendation, and that was for the development of a tribal energy corporation. A tribal energy corporation that is established by the White Earth RBC, and that is in effect a catcher for the work that we're doing. An entity that can take the work and the proposals and the projects that come out of this work, this effort currently underway, and need to be carried forward. They need to be carried forward by someone, by a team, by an entity. There will be ongoing conversations and ongoing discussions, and it would be good to have members of a tribal energy corporation here on White Earth to have those conversations and to be part of that ongoing work and effort in this renewable energy field. The recommendation to develop a tribal corporation can be found on page 21 of the midterm report. In addition, today, as a part of our recommendation to develop the tribal energy corporation, I have with me potential changes to our agreement that include the establishment of a tribal energy corporation here on White Earth. That's included as part of the third leg of the triangle that we've already endeavored on, or already endeavoring on. The first leg was to look at the potential for White Earth. The second leg was to look at project options. The third leg was project refinement, which was something that is to happen after we bring forward to the White Earth Business Committee a set of projects and proposals and timelines, finances, legal information, and so forth that we're expecting to bring at the end of the year. With that, I'd like to open up the floor for any questions or comments.
I'd like to know what Total Spectrum's budget is.
$4 million.
I want to know the budget.
But it's not broken.
All is being allocated.
The budget that we have is, as requested by the General Counsel, in the attachment A to the contract. Everybody has a copy of the contract. The amount of money that's specified has gone to pay for all of the elements that are in that attachment A, and will continue to be used as we prepare the final report.
Well, that's a very vague answer.
Yes, it is.
You know, that's $4 million for consultation fees. Now, for $4.9 million, we could have bought solar panels, we could have bought material to build solar panels, and we could have created jobs for our members to build and install. I see no promise of an end product with Total Spectrum. So I want to know how our money's being spent.
The reason that there is no end promise at this time is because the projects that are under evaluation are expected to be put into a final report for the review by the business committee at the end of the year.
The thing is we've already done our research on renewable energy, and it was discarded so that Steve Gordon of Total Spectrum could get $4.9 million. Now, Steve Gordon likes to advertise on his websites that he's a political lobbyist, that he helps with political campaigns. Now, I know our White Earth Secretary Treasurer is vying for a political position outside our reservation. So I question that contract right from the beginning. So I want to know how our money is being spent. What is the end product? What are you promising us?
The end product is a report that has been compiled over the last 2 months that includes discussions with 7 different energy organizations and companies that have come to us, and that's some that we have come to in order to develop projects to benefit the people of White Earth and projects to increase the amount of funds that White Earth can obtain given the amount it has now. What we're trying to do is to set up a constant funding stream to the tribe. What we're also trying to do is to put on the ground the things that we can in terms of
the renewable energy products that will be supported by local energy companies and White Earth, and trying to put those on the ground in a way that White Earth gets the most benefit out of them, whether that is through jobs, certainly, whether that is through investments, apparently, and whether that is through long-lasting projects that we have now put in place, or at least that we have been talking through, that they're not one-time projects. These are not one-time relationships. We're developing relationships for the short term. We're developing projects for the short term. We're developing relationships and projects for the long term as well. These are not projects for us. These are projects to benefit our children, our children's children, the 7 generations.
I understand that, but we didn't need to spend $4.9 million to do this. What I'm saying is $4.9 million is only the beginning. We couldn't even use the COVID money because the Secretary of Treasury couldn't figure out a way to get around the COVID restrictions, expenditures. So we used our general fund. We are a reservation in need. That 4.9 could have went a long ways. And that 4.9 million is not the end. Because after the little consultation dance, in order for us to receive a product, we're gonna have to spend more. You are not dealing with a reservation that has a bottom, an open purse full of anything to support this. Our people are in need, and we've already did this consultation. We have not one of those so-called companies have any experience.
Exactly.
And you want to know something? Whole Spectrum didn't go around door knocking, asking our members to be involved. That list, those names were given to you, hand-selected by the Secretary Treasurer.
Hey, Mr. Secretary, can you comment on that? Apparently not.
From
which part?
That which part?
All of it.
Well, first of all,
did that come from the general fund?
This contract was approved in legal session, and it was voted on by all voting members that were present of the RBC. This was not decided by a single individual. There has been years and years of research and engagement and development related to renewable energy. I think we have a tremendous opportunity here to create renewable energy. And quite frankly, the folks I want to hear from right now, Mr. Chair, is the green team. I'd like to hear some of the feedback that they have. I asked maybe Muskrat Systems or White Clay Industries. What do you have to say?
If I may comment, from reviewing the contract, my speculation is that Total Spectrum came in and said, how can I get a bunch of money from this reservation? Well, if I set up these individual with dummy companies that, like you said, have no experience whatsoever, then these dummy companies will 3 times in the next year get $171,000 a piece to be distributed how they feel fit. And I haven't been able to find out yet in totality how much Total Spectrum is getting, because there was all of these non-disclosure agreements that were signed between these entities, Ogama, White Clay, Terra, Teresa, sorry. Yeah. So yeah, all of a sudden, companies popped up out of nowhere and walked away with $171,000 so far. And then now they're about to get another $171,000. Because if this was such a great experiment, if this was so beneficial for the tribe, why did my only flesh and blood brother keep me out of the loop of this thing? Purposely distracted me to not pay attention to this. that I would call bison shit. Excuse me. But they're okay with taking this large amount of money from the tribe. They're all okay with that. I'd love to hear, how do we do an audit on the money these individual tribes or these individual businesses get? Can we request that since it's our money going to them?
That's something we can do, Lenny?
I mean, I don't see why not, but it would come from RBC.
Is that something that RBC is willing, the council is willing to vote on, that we get an audit at all of the monies that these so-called no experience companies are getting? And Ellen Roy, you took this proposal to a meeting the day before, and I know those were companies that were hiring for this project days before approval. So don't tell me it wasn't all set up. Why you had to rush it through a meeting prior to a public RBC meeting? You didn't want the people to know about it. You wanted to sneak it through.
It's not true. You're telling mistruths.
That is true.
The request I have is to hear from the green team. You've spoken at length. I'd like to hear from the green team.
Ani, Douglas Lee, Indigenous Cause, Gawaba, Biganakaga, Dun Jaba, Makwan Dudame. I'm the owner, the CEO of White Clay Industries, and I'm a part of this contract right here. Here, buddy. So, there's a bunch of questions. I'm trying to remember all of the questions, but I do know, this is what I do know, that we had a PowerPoint presentation that we shared with Natawash Community Council last night. Thank you very much for having us there, by the way. We had a great turnout, and on the presentation we shared, anybody that wants to come once a week, we're going to hold feasts and community events once a week to engage the community and keep you informed and involved with what we're doing. At this meeting, we shared that Total Spectrum was contacted by utility companies that wanted to do business with White Earth. There are big utility companies, big companies that want to do business with White Earth, but they're requesting a third-party integrity company.
Why?
A third-party integrity company because they don't want to do business with White Earth. So
everyone knows that. Everyone.
Company, Total, was contacted by the utility companies.
So who brought Total to the reservation? Who brought Total to the council? Council? Who was the first on the council that was reached out and approached by, by Total? No one can answer that question?
Ellen Roy.
My other question then, is any of the council in a non-disclosure agreement with Total Spectrum? That question goes to all council members.
Okay, got it?
I do believe that non-disclosure agreement was signed by Mr. Chairman back in July of 2021. So that does cover the whole tribal council. As for individually, I am not in a non-disclosure. As a member, I'm not in a non-disclosure, but as a tribal council member, I am. And to go a little bit further, and Lenny, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but non-disclosures are recommended by a lot of the people that we work or that we contract with, right?
Yes, that's correct. And legal department did review the non-disclosure agreement with Total Spectrum and recommended it to the RBC. And the RBC approved it, as you said, Annie, back in July.
Was there was it a 20-year disclosure? How long was it for?
10 years.
How long?
10 years.
10 years.
Are these facts, or you do know that?
Facts.
Or is it just your opinion?
They're facts.
But Lenny, now, do we enter those into the non-disclosures with other contractors also?
Yes.
2 to 5 years.
The form we use for Total Spectrum is the general form for non-disclosure agreements that legal department has recommended for other contractors as well. Total Spectrum used Whiter's non-disclosure agreement form is what I'm saying.
So you guys will probably get one too.
Was it at the recommendation of Whiter that the NDAs were signed?
It was the recommendation from Whiter's legal department, yes. And then the RBC adopted the non-disclosure agreements.
So how do we as members get this report, this first report from Total Spectrum?
I believe that the RBC can vote to release that today.
The first part?
Yeah, the report that was submitted on November 17th.
Absolutely. Can I guess that the three that voted for this agreement was the same ones, the same three that voted for Total to pass a resolution to contract with Total Spectrum?
If I recall, you're talking about the non-disclosure agreement?
Right.
If I recall, for the non-disclosure agreement was on a consent agenda. And so that would have been a unanimous vote of all members of the RBC that were at whatever meeting that was approved at. And I don't have the documentation.
Unanimous or majority?
It would have been of unanimous of the members that were present. And I'm not exactly sure all the members that were present at that meeting. It would have been at least a quorum.
The chairman can vote, so he wouldn't have to vote there.
No, that's correct.
And Kathy wasn't there.
Body has the powers. And if I must say, Mr. Chair, you know, Anita, you're bringing up that there has been all this research and all that. You know, I came on in August of 2020. I have never seen nothing. Nothing. So where is this research you speak of? No one has ever brought it forward to me. And another thing, this is now here. It's going fast. It's moving fast. And if we want to be part of it, we have to make our move. And that's what we're trying to do. I understand there's ill feeling maybe between you guys, you know, but they are members. I mean, can we not, you know, agree to disagree and let's move forward on this green energy because it is the
I just want it done in a correct way. I want our money
it's
saved.
Coming. I mean, it's coming fast. And if we don't move now, one proposal I did see was 30 years in the future. Now what? So we gotta wait till we're dead to see green energy here? No, I say we move on it now.
I agree. We don't. Our family and the businesses that are here today, they're stepping up, they're stepping forward, they're speaking on behalf of the people, they're looking at the right opportunities. And the fact is that the opportunity to get involved with this is now. You got electrical vehicles that are happening, you've got the renewable energy generation assets that are happening right now. And unfortunately, you know, there are some people that don't want to move on this for whatever reason. They can try to politicize it. They can try to make it about other issues, or they can, or White Earth has a choice. For me, the question I ask myself is will White Earth be at the table making the change, or will we be sitting on the sideline watching it happen?
But do we have to take $4 million to build a table?
I will be advocating for White Earth Nation to be leading on green energy, to addressing climate change, and being at the forefront of all of this. That position will never change. I will continually advocate for that because it's about our families and our children. It's about our 7 generations looking forward. And if you want to make it about me, that's okay. But it isn't. This is about our children. That's the fact. This is about all of us in this room right now. And I'm going to do everything I can to help the people because I believe in them. I really do. want to hear from Teresa. I know she's trying to say something.
You cannot starve your grandchildren by feeding your kids today.
Well, if I may, Mr. Chair, you know, that's why White Earth never moves forward. You know, we're not, never are we on one page, never. You know, we could do the greatest things and we still catch hell for it. Yep. You know, and like I always say, it's okay to disagree, you know, agree to disagree, but at some point, people, we have to move forward. We have to realize that, you know, we're all here for each other. And our nation is such a jealous nation. It's just, you know, it just consumes us. And I know I was in that place too, but right now my heart is for every member out there, not just myself or my family, which, you know, I get accused of too. And that's not true. I mean, if people would reach out and talk to me, I do share the truth. And, you know, for me, if we can at some point get free energy for our people, or at least reduce it, you know, get our air clean around here, I'm all for it. But I don't want to wait 30 years for that. Miigwech.
I'd appreciate it if the people were not shamed into being silenced by being called haters or dividers or negative or jealous. You know, our people being silenced is a part of historical trauma because our ancestors were beat for speaking our language. They were used to being oppressed, used to being told no, so they stopped speaking up. There are a lot more people that should be here at these meetings. But you want to know something? They figure why. They've given up hope. They don't feel that their voice matters. And now you want to further silence the people by trying to label them because their views differ. I'm not the only one that feels this way. And I won't be shamed.
I have a comment and I have a question about all of this. So actually, I got a couple, and I'm not asking for my family. I think every one of us here in this room is for green energy. First reason, the poverty rates on this reservation, the heating costs on this reservation is ridiculous. We support that. Two, it is our responsibility as Anishinaabe to take care of the land. That is role Creator gave us. I don't think that's the argument. I don't think it's about worrying about our seventh generation, because I think the ones that are intentionally doing their jobs are doing that. My question is, and I'm not asking for my family, and I'll tell you right now, my son, my adult son, will have nothing to do with White Earth. That's his choice. He has a master's in architecture. His master's thesis was on net zero. The land he chose was in District 2 on Blair Road. He laid it out. Nobody offered that. We keep saying we want to do stuff for our kids. What about Davette's boy? He's been to Europe looking at wind generators. Why is he not consulted? We talk about being and making a place for our young people. And this is what we do. This is how we fight amongst ourselves. Every time money comes in, it creates division amongst us. Last community council meeting, we were offered $200 for community council. We're volunteers. My first thought was, oh shit, really? Because my time's worth way more than what we give, but we do it because it comes from our heart. And now this is going to create division within our community. Well, you're getting paid. But here's the thing, where is that? Where are we really talking about our future? You know, we've got young, smart people out there. We have 2 businessmen sitting right here that were never consulted. Not saying that they wanted it. I'm just saying there's a lot of businesses on this reservation that could have been consulted as well.
Yes.
But the reason I'm here and the reason why I'm really passionate about this and I'm really upset is because I want to hear from the council on what are your intentions for District 2. Because we're out there trying to take care of our people. We're still a little offended we didn't get a snow blower and made a wash last night. No. But we did get to eat good. You know, and I think that's one of the things. Like, there was the recommendation that came from this report. What was that called?
Which report? The midterm report?
The midterm report.
That this is established a tribal utility company, or a tribal energy company.
So what is the difference between a tribal energy company and a PUC?
The tribal energy company would actually operate under the scope of the PUC. The tribal energy company would be on the ground to employ people and bring in the projects and help those projects get stood up, find the contractors, essentially run the business. That business
the PUC would be like, so in gaming, what it'd be like is PUC is like gaming commission, company is like casino.
So would that be like your enterprises, technically?
Yeah.
So would that be like your enterprises? All right, that was my only question.
Yep.
You go ahead.
So getting back to Spectrum, I'm Teresa St. Clair. I'm pretty sure everyone knows me. When we came here in 1980 with my dad, he had a lot of political things going on. Things that happened when Chip Wadena had put things together and made this RBC the way it is. Now, he always said, until the system is broken down and repaired and built back up, there's always going to be dictatorship. Doesn't matter who gets in office. Doesn't matter. It's always going to be like that. So it was set up for us to fight and bicker. I've been on the poor side. I'm still poor. You know, I never got no $176,000. I don't know where you're getting that information from, but I mean, if y'all want businesses, like we said, the businesses, there's 280 businesses. For real, where are they? I didn't get no $30,000. I mean, I didn't apply for it. So, I mean, everyone needs to step up and just love each other and, like you said, take care of our kids. So when people have the chance to be in council, make them decisions. Because I've been here since 1980. Moved up here from Richfield, where we had a very nice home. My mother was a LPN. And so I'm trying to keep my cool here about talking about being dissidents, being called names, because we fight the council. And it ain't even the council members, it's the system that we're fighting. It ain't the council members, it's the system. Until you can realize that, then we're all still gonna keep fighting. And I've been called dissident since I was 10 years old. Now I'm being called the rich woman. No, I buried a son at age 11. You know, the people, you buy insurance for your cars, you hit and kill somebody, you get paid out. Well, guess what? My son was worth $30,000 to some white people that live on the reservation. Now, when my son died, we brought back the drum. People ask me, how come I buried him like that? Because I feel like that's the way. But after my son died, all these gifts came back. Ask anyone. It's been 16 years for him. Tomorrow will be his 17th year. And I've come a long way since 1980 to stand up here. Half of our people are dead. Leonard, all the ones who stuck up for us back in the day, they're all dead. They're gone. This is what we have left. So do we want to sit back and let the whole States, the whole world to jump on top of renewable energy when we have the chance right here? And the reason why there was third-party diligence. And I don't know if anyone knows what diligence means, but the third party even, meaning because people outside the reservation and big businesses do not trust our tribal council because of the past councils, because of the way the system is put together. So when we overcome that, it's gonna benefit everybody. You know, our kids, that's what we keep talking about, our kids. You know, that's what the future is our kids. So are we gonna sit back and let the United States trample all over something that we can have again? You know, and take care of our future and our kids? You know, the profit, we've never even seen a profit out of the casino. I mean, and for right now, if you guys look at it, our number one thing we make money off of are the addicts getting clean. The addicts. That's who's supporting our tribe right now. That's sad, that hurts my heart. But they're all getting clean, they're all getting their kids back. That's what we gotta look forward to. This next truckload of toys that are coming, that ain't from Toys for Tots or whatever from Michigan. That's from our Green Team crew. My cousin Ray St. Clair set that up. All these kids are gonna make sure they get something, and elders and whoever else. So, I mean, you guys, we need to, for real, kick back. Enough with the BS, you know, and just, I always say this, love each other. It's hard. It's hard. Goddamn, it's hard. You know? We all go through this in our own families, but if we all try to take a step forward, and like these guys all need plastic still. I mean, as Green Team, we can go out there this afternoon. After we're done here, we're told that it's night out or put our lights on so we can get these people help in their homes so it can stay warm. This is like the third month I heard about that. I mean, we all get paychecks. Everyone gets a paycheck. And if you don't get a paycheck, you used to get a paycheck. So, I mean, that's all I can say, you guys, is we should not fight and bicker.
Thank you.
Dead tomorrow. So
as an initiative,
and every time, Mike, you cut me off, you weren't even born or raised here with us. All these people, Tara, all of us, we were raised here. We suffered together. So miigwech to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Teresa. Yes.
Can I just make a comment? Thank you for some of the information. You know, when this was brought to us, the 3 members of the council passed this at a financial meeting the day before. This is why we as elders had questions. We knew nothing about this yet. They brought it to a meeting the very next day. I mean, they could have brought that to the meeting. And these community outreach programs they're doing should have been done before. So we knew what this project was all about. You know, I resent the fact that we all are concerned about energy. We're trying to do our best to figure out ways that we can help with that. Our elders are concerned about our young people. That's our role, is to look to the future for our children.
So do you guys have a list?
And if we want to be here and have questions, we have that right. And we are your elders that should be respected and be able to do that. So I still have questions. And when they're answered, we'll see what happens. Thank you.
this meeting that was discussed, there was a breakfast that was done between these groups and Spectrum and the council. I was notified the day before by Alan Roy asking me if I needed a room at the casino for the breakfast the following morning. And I'm like, what breakfast? And he said it was this breakfast with Spectrum and these groups. And I'm like, I didn't know about this breakfast. And he's like, your own brother didn't tell you about this meeting? And I'm like, no. An hour later, I get a phone call by my brother saying, are you coming to this meeting tomorrow? First time he ever told me about it, he knew about it 3 weeks in advance. And so I was purposely kept from this because I love my brother with all my heart, but I don't care if it's my brother, my mother, my son. If you are doing negativity, especially to this tribe, I will point it out. Because I think there's some shenanigans going on. And my question to you, Teresa, so now you're proclaiming you got no money? Or did you receive money?
We all got money through contract.
Okay, can you have some integrity and disclose that amount?
Because of our contract, we can't disclose anything.
Exactly. That's why it's such a good and positive thing for truth, honor, and justice, the American way, because it's done behind closed doors.
If everything was done behind closed doors, why are we sitting here, Kevin?
Because I'm crippled.
No, why are we sitting here?
That's why I'm
Like,
sitting here.
you're not making sense right now.
Yeah.
Like, why are
I'm
we
crippled,
sitting here
like,
if
I'm sitting
everything
here.
is behind closed
That's
doors?
the question.
We're here because it's our money.
I would like to reiterate right now, Joe Dan Rojo, Logamar Organics. I would like to reiterate that we have, the Green Team has presented our midterm or our midpoint report to the council, and it is now at the council's discretion whether it be released to the public or not.
I request that it be released to the public.
Second that.
Mr. Chair, I will make a motion to accept the midpoint report and to approve the contracted allocation.
Secretary Roy, our chairman stepped out of the room for a moment.
I'll be chairman.
Ray?
Ray, yeah.
Raise the vice.
Ray?
Yeah, I second that motion, Chair.
Our chairman has
We
stepped
gotta
out of
wait
the
till
room.
Mike comes back because we don't have a quorum because Andy's not on the video.
Oh, Andy's not.
That's what he said.
Oh,
What was the motion?
yeah, I guess. Leave.
To release and approve that report.
Secretary Roy,
If we don't have a quorum, we should have.
well, Chairman
We
Fairbanks
have
just
to wait
stepped
until he
out.
comes back.
Oh, he's right.
Very mean.
Let us.
I'm walking to a seat.
For what?
You don't have a quorum.
Oh, waiting for you.
Before you guys ask for vote, Alan, are you there?
What you doing on vote?
Mr. Roy?
Is Mike back?
Yep.
Alan, this is Sam Kroll.
Okay. So I want to make a motion to release and approve the report.
Okay, hang on now. Okay, I had to run it up to the bathroom today, so first thing was to make a motion to release the what is it, the midterm or what is it?
Midpoint report.
Midpoint report to the public.
Yeah, release and approve.
Okay, so motion by Alan, second.
Yeah, raise on.
Second.
Second by Andy, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Chairman, I have a question. So then, now after this report has been submitted, is it not true that Spectrum and all of this group is going to get another big chunk of money?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, Lenny, I'm not sure what's in the contract or.
I thought they received three different major payments throughout the course of the year of a substantial amount of money. So now they're getting another chunk of money, is my question.
I thought you said we already got 172,000 though. Isn't that what you told us?
Well, Well, you could tell us and clear the air.
I've got a clarifying question on that then. Leslie, are you guys, I know the tribal businesses are on through, I think, 24 September of next year. Is Total Spectrum on through that as well?
Total Spectrum will be on to that, provided that we can have an agreement that amends the contract to pursue some of these projects that are proposed.
So that means more money you want.
Yeah, so are you guys on through the 24 September of next year then?
Total Spectrum can be on until, yes.
Yeah, because I thought when I read your guys' contract, it said that you guys are on through April, but I want to make sure that you guys are working with the band member businesses on the same timeline as them.
Understood. It's the same timeline. It's a one-year contract. We're all on it. There are there's a stack of responsibilities that Total Spectrum. I'm sorry. There's a list of responsibilities that Total Spectrum needs to fulfill, and once they're fulfilled, there are additional things to be worked through to figure out what happens after that. We are, however, on a one-year contract.
Oh, so we're in agreements on that point then?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. Sam, do you want to say a few words?
Yeah. Alan, are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Do you remember a meeting we had back in July or August on a commission meeting, Elders Commission meeting, when you brought up solar? You were talking about this then. I think this was the egg that hatched into this. And I told you at that time that we had a solar company already on the reservation making solar panels, and to join would be better than trying to outdo them. Let me read you a little bit. Honor the Earth is the process of forming a new nonprofit organization, the Akeene Aspire Community Development Corporation. The goal of Akeene is to help develop green jobs and a local economy on White Earth, and in particular the Plains White community. We will do this by building micro enterprises ranging from daycare, silk spinning, niche farming, to building and installing solar thermal panels. There will be a number of job opportunities for full-time, part-time, and intermittent employees throughout this program. If you're interested in the program, please let us know the kind of work you're interested in and a little bit about you. All potential employees are evaluated without regard to race, color, religion, gender, national origin, etc. I've worked for this company on and off for the last 4 years. That's how long this paper's been out.
So
now, did any of you guys even think to read this? Your new $4.9 million commission?
So if that was available 4 years ago, how come none of us even got an application? Like nobody.
Alan, you want to tell them where you were on the day of the TEC meeting, the first day out there? The same day, in fact, I think the Dream Team took a picture in front of a bunch of solar panels that Ace Solar put up.
Yeah, I want to clarify something, Sam. Say, back in, I think it must have been August or July, one of those 2 dates, and it was the summer, it was an Aspire and a number of other tribally owned businesses from outside of the reservation actually sat down, had a meeting with the RBC. I believe you were there, Sam. And at that meeting, I requested that group bring forward a proposal to start to address these energy needs that you're speaking of. Not only that, but soon after the Green Team was approved to work on energy for the tribe, Winona LeDuc, Aspire Solar, and their staff visited my office and wanted to do solar work. And this was back in October. And so I asked them again, please come forward with a proposal. Shortly thereafter, a few weeks later, must have been late October, early November here, I paid a visit to Aspire Solar again. And then I requested to Pam Fairbanks, please bring forward a proposal. It is now December. Where is the proposal? Where is it?
Let me ask you this.
No, answer my question.
$4.9 million for a proposal.
If you're an employee of Aspire Solar, where is the proposal, Sam?
See, Alan, I remember in a meeting you claimed that Winona went to your office and you declined her assistance.
No. I'm asking a question of an 8th Fire self-identified employee. I have asked several times for a proposal. Where is the proposal?
Well, if I have somebody come to me after the fact, after you offer somebody else $4.9 million to do a study of what she's already doing,
where is the 8th Fire proposal?
Can I also, Jack, really quick, I think 8th Fire, if I'm wrong, because somebody correct me, I think it's thermal, solar thermal. So it's like for heating the house, it's not like electric. Am I right?
Same purpose.
8th Fire, Sam, 8th Fire, I think is thermal, solar thermal, not electric.
yes, but they can convert over for $4.9 million. I'll hire somebody like you guys are doing to come in and do it too.
Right, but they didn't offer it, like the RBC didn't offer it to our group. We came in and proposed it, and they agreed to it, in legal session, all of them, unanimously.
My point is, that very well could be, but my point is, we have
Indian this is my 5th request. You have self-identified as a representative of 8th Fire Solar. Please go back to your company leadership and inform them that Secretary Roy has, I'm going to count it as the 5th time, for the 5th time requested a proposal to be brought forward by your organization. You have self-identified as an employee of this organization. Please accept my request.
My memory serves me correct, Al, when I was down there the day you were talking with Pam and the CEO down there that she got working for 8th Fire Solar, you looked at 60, I think if my memory correct me, didn't you request 60 thermal panels?
Your team had said that they are prepared to provide thermal panels to homes on the reservation. They also identified 30 potential homes. I believe the vast majority of those are in District 2 with solar panels. These homes are pre-outfitted, and your team said that they were ready and prepared to bring forward a proposal to hook those homes up with electricity and to be able to provide these services to our homes and our people, which I think is a great idea. And yet I'm still waiting on that proposal.
Well, if my thoughts are correct, I would be not willing to argue that Pam Fairbanks is probably listening to your conversation right now.
Yeah, tell Pam to bring forward a proposal. Just bring forward a proposal so we can look at it. That's all.
Did you ask for proposals prior to doing this $4.9 million?
Yes, I did. Sam, this would be my 5th request. Please accept that you have self-identified as an employee of that organization. Please accept this as my 5th request for a proposal.
Well, I will check into that, but here's the next question would be, somebody brought up the people on this dream team, how much experience, 50
I want to clarify something, Sam. When Winona and Pam visited my office, they had brought forward some ideas on some potential projects on a study that was done over a decade ago. And this was very interesting. The cost, my estimate on that cost for that proposal would be anywhere from $15 to $25 million. Do you wish to speak on that?
I guess I didn't hear the answer. I was looking at someone else at the time. What did you ask?
Well, this is what I asked them to come forward a proposal with. So they're asking for $15 million from the tribe, 15 to 25, but they don't even have a proposal in front of the council to look at. You just want us to give the money over to you guys with no questions asked?
Is that what you just did here?
No, they actually got in the proposal. You have seen the contract, you have seen a copy of the budget, and yet, for the 5th time I've asked 8th Fire Solar, please bring in a proposal. From the sounds of it, it's a $15 to $25 million proposal. They just want us to give, do they just want us to give them the money without any documentation? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, I would like to see that. I would like to see, like someone else.
But how is that, Sam, but how is that fair to all the other tribal businesses on the reservation? That RBC just approves something without any documentation to an organization that has been asked several times to bring forward a proposal? They don't need to bring forward a proposal, we just fork over the money? Is that how that works? I don't think that's fair at all.
But why didn't Spectrum also go to Winona? Or how come I wasn't informed? I have an LLC, but I wasn't told about the Spectrum deal that I could have been part of. You get a nice chunk of change also.
That's basically what the people are asking, why certain individuals were involved in it.
I understand the question. You'll have to speak to the green team that is there on how they self-organize. But the question I have again is why hasn't ACE Fire brought forward a proposal?
If I may humbly ask people to do a research and say how environmentally damaging solar panels are, because the solar panels have to be made and manufactured. And when you look at the devastation that lithium batteries are now having on the world, you talk about wanting to be green, yet you're willing to destroy another country, Africa, for mining all of this stuff out of their country. Hypocrisy.
All right, thank you. So, any more questions for the total spectrum midpoint report?
When can we get copies?
Lori, I guess when can we? I guess you could probably pick them up tomorrow.
Good, thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. All right. With that said, I think that we will go into executive session.
So we got to do the consent.
Oh, the consent agenda. I'm sorry. We got the consent agenda. Council, did you get a chance to look at it? Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda with the additions, Len?
No, we're going to do the additions in executive.
Oh, we'll do the additions in executive. Yeah.
Did they make a motion for?
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Are you guys going to have any discussion on District 2 vacancy?
Yes, that'll be right after our break. Okay. When we go into executive.
When you go into executive?
We'll do the consent agenda. We'll do a break. Then we'll go into executive and talk about District 2.
Isn't that something, I'm District 2, and I'd rather be that open meeting and be present, not something behind closed doors, because that's very important to me and it directly affects me.
Council, would you mind if we talk about the District 2 vacancy?
I have no problem, Mr. Chair.
No, I have no problem either, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, we'll talk about it after we do the consent agenda, then the break, and we'll talk about District 2. So, okay. Motion to approve the consent agenda. And we'll talk about the table stuff and the additions in executive. So. Motion by Raymond, second. Second by Alan, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, thank you everyone for showing.